Bipolarism, Neurodivergent, ASD at frequency level, part 2. Let's go. Okay, so in my last video, I covered briefly a little bit about my history, but also talked about how neurodivergence, ASD, and bipolarism is a function of 3 things. This is the records in your DNA, in conjunction with your conditioning, and also a trauma response. I think we're in a collective trauma response, and we're creating from trauma. And I think this trauma is starting to bifurcate into these subsets of almost a derived consciousness. What do I mean by that? I mean that there's enough attention being focused on mental health, ASD, neurodivergence, and autism that it's almost creating its own auric field. I will also say that it is the combination of people who actually have gifts that are unprocessed or are not understood or integrated into the body. At frequency level, there's a few programs that are running here. You could be running a trauma response that you experienced or a trauma response from a family member that's been projected into your field. If you run a sacrifice pattern, a cult frequency, if you come from any type of black magic or witchcraft, these things contribute a lot to taking on other people's patterning. When you take on other people's patterning, you're running a fix-it program and a martyr frequency. I see this a lot with empaths. This is for another video, but if you feel like you are the empathic kind and you are taking in too much information, that could lead to a swing emotionally or a misfiring in your brain. It's starting to learn how to not handle information and it's not regulating it well in your body. Another thing I see in conjunction with all these things, so from an epigenetic standpoint, from a pattern perspective, I see 3 main come from places: famine, war, and the third one is deep levels of survivability, abandonment, almost like an orphaned frequency, which is like a sacrifice pattern. I know I talk about sacrifice a lot, but sacrifice is a big pattern associated with religion. Religion is very old, but also very new, and it's been really, really diluted and convoluted over time, and it's pretty much running in everyone's field. And when done well, it's a helpful tool. When not done well, it turns into some not good stuff. So your consciousness can almost be hijacked. That's for another video too, but I say all of this to say that none of this is actually you. When you start to understand how you render your reality here, meaning how you are creating your reality, what's yours and what isn't, you can start to get a handle on it, and then the anxiety releases from your nervous system. This is where you'll need a combination of things, most likely. You kind of have to blitz it, talk therapy, medication, frequency work, biofeedback, this kind of stuff, but you can absolutely recover from these things. In my next video, I'm going to talk about what it looks like when you take on other people's trauma.